Hello everyone and welcome to NRL Live Chat 2.0 podcast. We're doing the 2024 team wrap-ups. I'm Brenno, I'm here with PJ and we're doing the reviews for all NRL teams in 2024. And we are now looking at the 9th place Raiders. Up the milk.
Up the milk, where the lean, mean, where the green machine.
Okay.
Just to that. Yeah, Canberra Raiders. What a season for them, Brenno. They started really strongly. They had a couple of horrific losses in there. They had a couple of shock wins in there. It was a mixed bag. I can't wait to get into it.
Absolutely, yeah. Like you said, yeah, started off strong, finished off really strong too. A little bit inconsistent in between and unlucky not to make the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Won 4 of the first 6 games, and then the last 3 games they won. And they also beat a couple of top teams, beating Panthers and Roosters towards the end. Just didn't quite make it. So let's have a look at some of their... Missed it by that much. Let's look at some of their stats. Position, 9th. Just missing out the 8. They had 30 points, 12 wins, 12 losses, and minus 127 points.
Oof.
That hurts, that one.
Yeah, that was always going to hurt in the battle for the top 8 because all the teams around them had better for and against. I think except the Dragons were minus 170 or some ridiculous number. But yes, it was an interesting season for the Raiders, mate. It was, they lost Jack White into the Rabbitohs. Everyone thought that they'd struggle and they wouldn't make the 8. They did really impressive in the early part of the season to prove that they had the players to get on with the job. They just couldn't score points, Brenno. You see here you've got your points scored 474. That's the 15th best attack in the comp.
There's only 17
now,
teams.
Now the Knights had the 16th best and they made the finals. They were only 470. But 474s are not
conceded.
Not enough points. Yeah, they let in 601. That was the 11th worst defence in the comp. So not bad, but they just needed to score more points.
Yeah, so completion rate 78%. That's not too good. Tackle efficiency 88.1%. Average points scored. So this is where it is 19. 25 is conceded. So.
Yeah, defence needs to be better and
Absolutely.
Attack nowhere near good enough for a top 8. Eighth spot was the Eels, scoring 561 points. Raiders scored 474. It's nearly 100 points too low for a top 8. Yeah.
So as we said, they kicked off the season really well, winning 4 out of the first 6.
Very nice start.
Then, a lot of red ones after that.
Yeah, I think the extra time, just up a little bit, the extra time match against the Gold Coast, that was a really important game for them. On the back of the Parramatta loss, and Parramatta weren't travelling too well. Winning that match, I think, gave the Raiders some really good momentum. But then coming out, Brenno, and getting smashed by the Broncos, who also weren't travelling that great. And then to get beat 40-0 at home by the Raiders, the Sharks, sorry.
Sharks,
easily the Raiders' worst loss of the season.
And that is my pick for the worst game of the season. It's just not to score any points at all and just get absolutely thumped. But, okay, Sharks were doing well and they were up the top of the ladder at that point.
And then Ricky read the riot act, obviously, because they came out, they beat Manly, they had the bye.
The next week,
They beat the Bulldogs, who were going really well. They lost to the Roosters, but hey, most teams lost to the Roosters this year. And then they beat the Dolphins in Golden Point. And then it all fell apart again, Brenno. It's like when they have a Golden Point match, they fall apart immediately after. That's 2 in a row there for the Raiders.
And it's close. They had a couple of buys that were close together there too, so I don't know if that might have affected them.
Ricky would have looked at that period there, Brenno, and going, okay, so we've got the bye, and we've got the Cowboys, the Tigers, the Storm, and the Knights. If we can win 2, maybe 3 of those 4, we're on point for the finals, and they won none of them.
This is what I don't get. They're looking at the West Tigers game, 48-24, they got beat, but then they turn around and they beat a couple of the top teams at the end of the year. It's, like I said, inconsistent and sort of They needed to win.
Yeah,
They needed to win against the Tigers. Like everyone beat the Tigers.
everyone beat the Tigers. Yeah, that was a terrible game. That was very close to the worst match of the season. I just gave it to the Sharks one because Raiders were at home and they didn't score a point.
The points. Yeah, didn't score anything.
But after that bye, beat the Warriors, beat the Rabbitohs, and then lost to Bulldogs, Manly, Cowboys, all in that top 8 battle with them in the bottom of the top 8. 3 really important matches that they lost. Then they come out and beat the Panthers and the Roosters, Brenner.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. Actually, it was
2 of the top 3.
Yeah, I remember seeing that game. This game was on when we met. Remember the Knights and Rabbitohs game?
Yep.
We both looked up at the big screen at the pub that we were drinking at and wondered if there was a New South Wales Cup or
Yeah.
It was,
we looked at our beers and went,
Panthers were getting
spiked.
beaten.
What's going on?
What's going on here?
Yeah, but 2 really solid wins to end the season. Then them beating the Dragons in the last round for the miracle play, because if the Dolphins and the Knights drew their match, Raiders would have snuck into 8th, but it wasn't.
They would have done a Bradbury.
They would have done a Stephen Bradbury, but it wasn't to be. Raiders basically too inconsistent for the season. And if we have a look at the Raiders matches here, you see all the scores that they had against the teams where they finished. So the first column's the first match, and then the second column's who they had to play twice. And you can see they got stiffed by the draw here, Breno. Yeah. 6 of the top 8 they had to play twice. And they only had to play, it's cut off, I can only see 16, but they only had to play 2 of the bottom. Yeah, 2 of the bottom 8 teams for a second time. And the Warriors and the Tigers were those 2 teams. And sadly and this is the point I was trying to make, sadly for the Raiders, they only won 1 of the 2 games. They lost to the Warriors in 1, and they beat the West Tigers and then lost the second match. So you've got to win those games if you're making the top 8.
For sure.
But stiff by the draw. Yeah. Stiff by the NRL draw, the Raiders were fair dinkum.
All right, so how does 2025 look for the Raiders? Do you think they're going to be a top 8 team? I say no, but there's a maybe. I'm thinking between 8th and 11th, they might make it if they can get their act together, win some games at home.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, Breno. I think they're going to be in that 13th spot era range.
The problem is I've got a few teams that are in that same range. Like someone has to get in the 8, and I'm not giving anyone a chance.
We probably should have started by doing our table for next year and then guessed, but that's all right. We can firm up our predictions in the preseason videos. But four players you can see there joining the Raiders next year. Ethan Sanders, the only one I know of, and he's okay. Yeah. He's an emerging player. I don't see anyone coming in that's going to add a lot to the Raiders. Yeah. I can see Josh Papali off contract. He's only 32, Breno. Incident at the pub, alleged incident at the pub a week ago. Smashed the glass and refused to leave. So I don't know if the NRL are going to sanction him for that. But he'd be a huge signing for a Dolphins or a Rabbitohs, one of those teams that are struggling in the forward pack. The Warriors have lost Aiden Fanua-Blake to the Sharks next year. He'd be a great pickup for the Warriors on a year or a 2-year deal. He's played 23 games this year, Josh Papali, so he's healthy. Nick Kotrick, Elliot Whitehead, both gone to the Catalans, and Jordan Rapana. Not a fan, I must admit, Breno, of Jordan Rapana.
Okay, I was about to say that's probably a loss for them. But
that's a huge loss, but not a fan. He's a bit grubby.
Yeah, okay.
But 3 big losses: Kotrick, Whitehead, and Jordan Rapana are all leaving. Raiders, I can only see going down to maybe 13th next year.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, lost some players there. Papali. I'm not sure how much longer he's going to be in the league. Didn't he retire from representative football this year? So
he did. Yeah. He's played 305 matches, so he's had a good stint. But he's only 32.
Yeah.
So if I was South, I'd be throwing money at him for a 1-year deal. Just come for 1 year, mate. See what we can do.
Yeah.
Yep. So the Canberra Raiders. We're both predicting not to make the finals next year. We'll see what happens in the off-season. I think that there's an opportunity for them to grab some players. There must be money in the contract available for them. We're now into the top 8, Breno. That's 9th spot. Who do we go to next?
Oh, I don't know. We're going to the eighth.
came eighth?
Wow. Who came eighth?
Could it be your Newcastle Knights by any chance?
Yeah, well, we check it out the Knights. Look out. It should be a good one.
Beautiful. Let us know in the comments below what you think of Canberra's season, and we'll see you next time for the Newcastle Knights.
See you guys. Up the milk.
Oh, I thought it went very good. Let's go and get some soft serves.